Marisa, and I'm a registered dietitian working with Gulf Coast Bariatrics. Today we're going to be making a vegetable frittata. We have some fresh ingredients here. I have some broccoli, red pepper, scallions, some zucchini, have some fresh eggs, some garlic, salt, pepper, a little bit of parsley, red pepper, and black pepper. I picked this meal to prepare because it's very versatile. You can make it with a number of different ingredients. You can do it with leftovers from the night before, such as a taco frittata if you made a taco salad the night before, or you could do one with salmon, smoked salmon and cream cheese for a lox and cream cheese version, or you could just do a simple version of ham and cheese. This is an excellent meal. It's very high in protein, very low in carbohydrates, so it will work with your meal plan. All right, to start off with this recipe, we're going to start off with some eggs. You can use whole eggs if you like, or the egg beaters. I'm using 6 whole eggs. The calories are quite significant in a difference basically because the eggs, because of the egg yolks, it has more fat in it. But it's a beneficial fat. You need some fat in your diet, so it's not a bad thing to do. If you want to use egg beaters, by all means you can substitute egg beaters. So first thing we're going to do is just crack these eggs in a bowl. So then basically what you want to do is just lightly whisk them. It's not necessary to beat them to a point where it has froth on it because it's not going to cook as well if you beat them too much. So we're just going to take a little bit of a fork, you can use a whisk if you like, and just lightly beat them in the bowl. Okay, so that's pretty much good enough. The egg whites and the yolks are kind of mixed together. So we're just going to set this aside and we're going to start heating up our pan to kind of saute our vegetables and our seasonings. Okay. Now what I have here is just a spray olive oil. If you want, you can just use a teaspoon of olive oil in the pan, or if you have any of these spray oils, you can use that. I am using a non-stick skillet, which is very important with this type of cooking because you need something that's going to let go of the egg when you cook it. If you do it in a regular pan, you're going to have to use a lot more oil or butter to kind of get it to a non-stick surface. So we're just going to spray this lightly. And with these sprays, you tend to use a lot less oil. When you pour it from the bottle, you tend to use a lot more. So you just want a little bit in there to get the vegetable sauteed, because it's not really going to be for a purpose of releasing the egg afterward. So while this is heating up a little bit. Okay. Okay. I'm just going to add, what I have in here is a little bit of garlic. If you don't like garlic, you don't have to add it, but I think it adds a lot of flavor to this. I'm not using a lot of onions, I've just used a little scallion, so it's a kind of a nice combination. So we're just going to put that in the pan. You don't want to basically cook it too much. You don't want to burn the garlic in the pan. So when it starts to sizzle, which it is right now, I'm going to add, just going to almost add the vegetables in here. I'm going to put the vegetables to the side. The other thing I'm going to put in the pan is a little bit of salt, and this is basically to your liking. A little bit of black pepper, some parsley, some oregano, just a pinch, and because I like a little heat to my dishes, I just always put a little bit of red pepper in there. Not necessary that you have to put it on, but I like a little bit of heat. Now the reason why I put the seasonings in the pan like that is when you saute the seasonings in a dry pan, it really releases a lot of their flavors. If you just put them in the main dish, you don't get the full effect. So I'm just going to move this around a little bit. Okay. So what I'm going to do now is just add my vegetables that I kind of pre-cut in here. Like I said, I have broccoli in here, I have red peppers, I have some scallions, zucchini as well. And this is just something that I had around in the house. You can use any types of vegetables that you like. If you have some asparagus, that always works well in here. Prunes and onions work really well together. So you can just kind of create your own dish. And by all means too, with your spices, whatever you like, whatever types of seasonings that you like to use, that's the types of seasonings that you would want to use. Okay? Stir this around. And as far as the vegetables, what I usually say with this is you want to cook them to your liking. If you like really cooked vegetables to the point where they're very soft, if that's what you handle the best, then you want to cook this a little bit longer. If you like more of a fresh version where the vegetables are still a little bit on the crunchy side, then you want to cook it less. And that, again, is up to you. I'm of the belief that the more you cook them, the more you lose a lot of its flavor the more you cook it. So, especially in this type of dish. If you're doing a soup, then the flavors kind of get mixed. But when you're sautéing, if they get too wilted, they're not that seasoned. So. Now the point of this is you can do this dish in the oven too, or just on a stove top like I'm doing. Basically, what you're creating is almost like a crustless quiche, and for lack of a better term. But that's the reason why I needed a non-stick saute pan, because we're going to kind of come around here and loosen the egg as it cooks. Now when it comes out, basically you can kind of transfer it to a dish and cut it into slices like you would a pie. And it's a great idea for your breakfast. You can make one every couple of days and kind of keep it like that. The other thing that you can add to this as well is cheese. And that also increases the protein content of this. And I do have some cheese off to the side that I'll add to this as well. Okay. I just have this blend of cheeses because I wanted to kind of get a mix of flavor of mozzarella and Assaggio cheese. So that's what this one is. If you like Munster cheese or mozzarella cheese, you can kind of mix that together. It's just up to you. Parmesan cheese works well with this as well. The sharper the cheese, the more flavor. So, and you don't need to add a lot to this because again, you need to kind of watch the amount of calories and fat that you're adding into your meals as well. Probably about a half a cup total of the cheese, and we're just going to kind of put it on there. And the reason why I added it now and not after is because I'm not going to really stir these eggs. Once I put them in here, it's going to kind of just set. Okay, so I'm going to pour these eggs on top. Kind of move it around a little bit so it kind of covers the whole pan. And you're just going to kind of leave it there to cook. Now, we're not flipping this. This is going to cook from the bottom up, so you don't want to keep this on a high heat because otherwise you're going to burn the bottom. So once this kind of gets to a point where I see it cooking real well on the stove, we're going to kind of lower the heat and just kind of keep it at more of a medium-low type of heat. Now, if you have a gas stove, this works really quick because the flames come up over the sides. But with the electric stoves, you got to wait a little bit longer until the pan kind of warms up on the side, because when you pour the egg in, you just cool the whole pan down. So you have to kind of give it a minute for the pan to reheat up again. Now, as far as salt, I added the salt in the beginning. You wouldn't really want to add it now because you're going to have clumps of salt on here. And you don't want to add it to the eggs when you're whipping them because it does, it pulls the water out of the egg and it makes it more of a dry texture. So you always want to add it to your vegetables and not to your eggs. Same thing if you're just making scrambled eggs. Always kind of add them in at the end, because if you add them in when you're scrambling them, they're going to be very dry in texture. So and you can see it's starting to pull away from the side a little bit. So okay, I'm going to lower this a little bit, and we're just going to let it cook for a minute. So basically it's pretty much cooking. I'm just moving it around so it'll cook a little bit faster in here. Now the reason why I use 6 eggs is because I have this big pan to use. If you have a smaller pan, you can always just use like 3 eggs. Now what this will do is basically make 6 servings basically. So like I said, you're going to cut it like a pie. So basically it would be enough for 6 meals. Lower that heat a little bit more. Another way to kind of let this cook a little bit faster is to cover the pan, because the steam will help to cook the eggs on the top. So just some more hints for your cooking at home, things that will kind of help it. So now your eggs are basically done on top and it's ready. So the beauty about a non-stick pan is it basically just slides out. So if you have a dish, you just basically slide it out and now you have your frittata. Now like I said, we can cut this into 6 slices and each slice will be basically your breakfast meal for the morning.